So there's a bit of controversy over the Panda Express that just opened up. And I just want to mention, so my perspective on this, for what it's worth, is it's not really artisan Chinese food. And I think people are going into that with that intention. It's essentially decent, like mall level Chinese food, and there's no weird tangy aftertaste if you get a good batch, and I generally do. So I just wanted to mention like what to expect from my perspective when you get these kinds of dishes. The meat is, it looks like you think it tastes like you think it looks, all right? So it tastes pretty good, and there's no chewy part. And then the chicken is the same. And what happens is when you get the frozen foods, you see stuff that looks like this, and it looks delicious, but it doesn't have the same fresh flavor. So really, you have a little bit of a fresh flavor, which is good. You have no weird tang from the chicken, which is good. The vegetables, of course, are fresh. Now, where this all comes from and the processing of it all, I don't know about. It's originated in California, and so it's supposed to be fairly decent in terms of providing fresh foods and fresh quality and having a focus on that as opposed to some places that are fast food. So also, yes, it is fast food, so you can go in and quickly get it because they have large batches that are prepared constantly. So it's kind of similar also to a buffet. So if you go to a buffet, you'll get something equivalent to this, higher or lower. It's at your discretion. But again, if you get something from the store like this, it will not taste as good as this. And I've had everything that they provide in terms of Asian foods from Walmart and Publix. The more you're going to pay and the fresher they produce it there, the better the quality. And so that's what's happening here. So while you don't have artisan quality, you have something that's like truly an Americanized version of this style of cuisine that has the most popular dishes that are fresh with a decent amount of vegetables. The sodium factor is another hot topic of debate. So that's just is what it is. It's this kind of food. How the sodium affects you, that's up to you to decide if you want to go that direction or not. And there are other things you can do to modulate the impact of that. But it's a factor, and you need to decide whether that works for you or not, and whether this experience is worth it. And lastly, the price. So I get a decent price from these guys because I've first of all, it didn't inflate like everything else in the economy went sky high in the last few years. So the price has always been about the same, maybe a few bucks more these days, but that's at least reasonable. Like you can get these two dishes for about $18 if you have a coupon. And, it feeds two people. I just make two meals out of it. And so, I like to have a variety when I'm eating, so that's why I have these two here, but I don't eat both simultaneously. So the price-wise, again, it's middle of the road. It's not too low and it's not too high. And, there's ways to do troubleshooting on all this stuff to make it more worth your while if you really love this kind of cuisine and you really want to go out of your way to focus on all that stuff, then knock yourself out. But if you want to get something convenient and fast and of reasonable quality and of reasonable price, I can see why this is a good idea. And then to tell you the truth, they have a line pretty solid over there since they just opened up recently. So that's good for them and a good sign that it's being adopted by the local community. So hopefully it sustains. And I used to have to go all the way to Ocala to get at least this kind of food. And I was at a Asian store locally, and it's really hit or miss with them, and I suppose with Panda Express as well. But in terms of traffic, because of these smaller communities, if you go on a day when it's busy or a time when it's busy in a small mom and pop style Asian cuisine place and you don't prepare in advance, you might have a very long wait. But at Panda, because it is this quick churn around style, your wait may be long, but it won't be quite as long in my opinion, in my experience. So there you go. Just some thoughts on this kind of cuisine for whatever it's worth. Have a good meal. Have a good day.